What is up, everybody? We are live right here. It's week three. It's week three for NFL fantasy football, for DFS, for best bets. I'm Tony Cotillo, as always. This is the Alternative Edge, part of the Tony Cotillo show, and brought to you by, as always, our partners over there at BetQL. And like I say all the time, man, you want to get involved in BetQL, just use that promo code Jigsaw. You get 50% off any monthly subscription of 2 or more sports, or 15% off one sport annual pass. www.betql.com. Very, very simple. So there's a lot going on this week already. A lot going on this week we're going to get into. There's always been a lot going on. Now, when we get involved, make sure you like and subscribe. You got start sit questions. You got DFS questions. You got bets. What are you looking at? Man, this is going to be a high-powered half hour. Maybe even go 45 minutes. I know there's a lot of people that are doing shows early. I figure, you know what? Screw it. I don't care. I'm going to do it too. Okay, I'm going to do it too because I probably got more energy. So my man Adam checking in as always. Good morning, Jig. Go Birds, fly Eagles, fly, baby. You know I'm all in on those Birds today against the Rams. I got a lot of plus money bets today, which I'm enjoying. Plus money bets are the way to go. Okay, I got 2 plus money bets that I'm really liking. I got them parlayed and I'm comboed. I got them single bets. I'm ready to go because again, the only way that you do this is you got to get creative, right? You got to get creative. And I'm different. I'm different. So what I always do is look at what are those games I'm zoning in on, right? Looking at I got a really good DFS AEVP. That's the alternative edge value play because Carson Wentz making his record 6 start for 6 different teams in 6 different seasons over there for the Minnesota Vikings. So there's gonna be a guy I'm gonna zone in on. Okay, on that squad, ridiculous for an AEVP if you're putting your DFS lineups in. Okay, so get involved. Who you start? Who you want to sit? What do you want to talk about? Let's get right into it. Let's get to some bets. Let's get to some plays. Right off the bat, what games are we looking at? Okay, what games are we looking at? And I'm going to show you what I'm looking at right off the bat, and the reason why I'm looking at, and the reason why I like it. Okay, where I start my mornings before I do this all the time is I go to BetQL, and basically what I do is I bring it up and say, okay, what are those top games? What are those 4 or 5-star games that I'm looking at? Okay, so that's what I'm looking at right there. Look at that number 1 game right there. Okay, look at that number 1 game, which is lo and behold is the Rams and the Eagles. So I'm looking at that and I'm going, okay, that's a 4-star bet analysis. I like that. Colts and Titans, Texans, Jaguars, Saints, Seahawks. They're the top 4 games over there at BetQL that they're looking at as far as where's that money coming from and who's liking it. Now, the best thing is, let's click on this bet analysis to see projected score they have is 25 to 18, 18 and a half as far as points per projection, 76% winning projection percentage for the Eagles. Again, we will see. I don't know if this could be a trap game for those Birds, but there's a lot to play for the Rams. A lot to play for. I love my Birds. I do. But if that offense comes out stalling, okay, you got Verse and Young coming on the edges, and they can get the Hurts, and they can make him a little uncomfortable. This could be a long day at the office for the Philadelphia Eagles. It really could. I'm being honest. So we shall see. Colts and the Titans, you got a 2022. Again, anything like 41, 42, 43 and above, I'm really liking because I think the game script is really good. I love this game right here. When we talk about the Texans and the Jaguars, I absolutely love it. I think there's a lot of great betting value within this game. I do. A lot of good betting value, and we're going to get into that. And then the other 4-star bet that we have over at BetQL is the Saints and the Seahawks. Now, that's going to be an interesting one, right? And I listen, I know JSN's playing. He's a little hobble, but I really like Cooper Kupp in this game. I really like Cooper Kupp in this game from a betting value. I talked about it in the week 2 rewind. He's getting more involved. He's getting more acclimated. There's no Zach Charbonnet. Okay, that's another guy that, even though it's maybe only half the time, that's another pass catcher taken away. So this could be a Cooper Kupp game. Just throwing it out there. We could be looking at a full-out Cooper Kupp game. So let's get right. My man Adam checking in, as always, says, who should I start? Keenan Allen or Cooper Kupp in my face? That's interesting, man. That's an interesting take because I love Keenan Allen. Now, I would be more on Keenan Allen. I'll be honest with you. I like Cooper Kupp as a sleeper. All right. I like Cooper Cup as a sleeper, but I love Keenan Allen, what he's been able to do. You know, he listen, he comes back home. Very, very simple. He comes back home in that Chargers offense. And I know it's Denver. I get it. I understand. However, you know, you're not going up against Patrick Surtain. Okay. Like, you know, maybe they mix coverages over no matter what, but I do think that he can exploit. And the thing is, he's really finding those zones. And I think that's what Herbert was missing last year. That guy to find those soft zones. You know, you saw the touchdown last week where he instantly was raising his hand, running across the back of the end zone. Listen, I understand that everybody can say, "Oh, who anybody can do that." Yeah, but not everybody does do that, right? And I think that's why I really like Keenan Allen. So, you know, if you're worried about that defense on Denver, then I would sleep over to Cooper Cup. But I just think that Keenan Allen will have a better opportunistic day, in my opinion. I do think, though, Cooper Cup sleeper wise, sleeper. That's why I'm saying sleeper. I think he could have a really good day out there, man. My man JD checking in. Carson Wentz two INTs. Let's get it, Jigsaw. Yeah, listen, I'll tell you what, man. You know, Carson, I hate the dog Carson. I do, but I'm curious to see what kind of Carson Wentz that we get out there. I do. I really am. And the reason why I'm curious is because, you know, Kevin O'Connell, he's a really good play caller. I mean, listen, you can say whatever you want about JJ McCarthy, but in week one, he actually won. Kevin O'Connell won that game, not JJ McCarthy. Kevin O'Connell won that game for his play calling ability. So, you know, we watched Shane Steichen, right? We watched Frank Reich, these offensive play callers for the Philadelphia Eagles, specifically Frank Reich, right? Specifically Frank Reich, what he was able to do with Carson Wentz. When you're a good play caller, even if you have an average quarterback, you can make them look very good. Now, obviously, it won't last forever, but if he has a good game script in this game, you may be surprised, JD. That's all I'm saying. You may be surprised. And let me get that. Let me get right into my sleeper pick, you know, from that game. Okay, my sleeper pick, and I'm gonna write this in. Okay, I'm gonna write this in so everybody sees it because I'm excited. I love these AEVPs. This is the alternative edge value play. There's picks like this that could possibly win you your contest. All right, so I'm gonna type this in right now, and my AEVP. Okay, my AEVP, and let's put AEVP is going to be none other than the tight end from the Minnesota Vikings, and that's going to be Josh Oliver. Josh Oliver is going to be my AEVP. Okay, this is going to be my AEVP. I listen, and this is only because if anybody ever follows the Carson Wentz wagon, we lived it here in Philadelphia. Carson Wentz does not zone in on one particular guy. They are going to put gadget plays in this game. There's going to be different ways around this game. So I love Josh Oliver. He's only had one target all year. I understand. Listen, I get it. I do. But you also have to look at the way this offense is scriptured, right? And a lot of it is, or I should say, structured. You have on IL. I just gonna say IL. On IR, you have Aaron Jones, which even though Aaron Jones isn't your starting RB1, he did insert himself into the passing game a lot. Okay, so even if that's 4 or 5 targets, they have to go somewhere else. You still don't have Jordan Addison back. So I just think that Josh Oliver could find himself because you also have to look at this. Jordan Mason now is going to be more of a focal point in the offense, right? He's going to be more. That's what they brought him in for. He's going to be more of a focal point of the offense. And because he's going to be more of a focal point, what he's going to do is he's going to command attention. And that means he's going to command attention in the running game. And when you do the running game, what do you always look at? You look at the running game with dual tight ends, extra blockers, extra plays. So I think Josh Oliver gets more clock this week. And I'm telling you, if there's a red zone opportunity, I want everybody to watch this. If there's a red zone opportunity, okay, you're going to see Carson Wentz with the fake play action looking for Josh Oliver. I'm telling you, man. And if it hits, I want everybody message to me. Again, total long shot. Okay. Total long shot, but I do think that for DFS at 2,500, if you want to get all those studs in your lineup and you want to pack it up with your core, but these high valued, high price tags, this is the guy you need in Josh Oliver. This is the guy you need in Josh Oliver. Adam says, you always find the names nobody even sees, and they usually hit. Adam, I'm telling you, man, like, put like a half a unit on that if you want. Like, I don't know if it's going, but I'm telling you that the script is there. The script is there. Again, make sure you're following along. Everybody like and subscribe. The Tony Cotillo Show. Make sure you get involved in the action as always. Got the free Discord chat going. Again, and I'm not going to be in Discord 25,000 times a day. Okay. But I do like to be in there and talk to the peeps, man. Talk to the people, because I think we have some really good insight that we don't always have to sit there on social media to watch, right? I mean, that's the biggest thing. Let's just not sit on social media watch. You get involved in a discussion. Okay, get involved in the discussion. So let's continue on. Let's bring up some bets that I'm looking at. And again, make sure if you want to get involved, just get involved. Very, very simple. I'll pop the Discord up. You can get. I'll be in Discord up until game time, checking out some questions, checking out what we do. Right, checking out listen, it's not just my questions, a lot of questions. A lot of people asking questions, man. Like, and again, because I know it's only week 3, but I'll tell you what, if you're 0-2, and you're sitting there, it may be one move, right? It may be one move that you just have to make. It may be one move that you have to make that could be the difference going 0-3. And listen, 0-3 is not good, man. Like, you still have time to turn it around, especially because I don't know what else is going on, like, in your league and what it looks like. But what I can say is, you have these opportunities, in certain formats that, listen, you could definitely get right back into it, right? You could definitely get right back into it. So, okay, you got any starts questions? Let's hit them up. I'm gonna get some bets. My man Adam says I am 0-2 right now. Yeah, listen, Adam. Don't put your head down, Adam. Right? I'm telling you, don't put your head down. You will listen. You're gonna get in there, man. You're gonna get in. You're definitely gonna get in there. I'm telling you right now, you're gonna get in there. Like, I, there's so much that goes into a lot of these. I mean, you're already looking at the a lot of guys. Sorry, I'm typing as we're talking. A lot of guys that have been hurt already, that have been missing games. It's early, right? You have people that drafted Rasheed Rice. You have people that drafted Chris Godwin, right? Chris Godwin looks like he's going to play next week. Got Rasheed White in a couple weeks. Jordan Addison. So they're like, you just have to make it, right? You just have to make it to that specific part, right? Just make it that specific part. So, Adam, I think you definitely get a free Discord right here. Very, very simple. The link is in the description as well. Hop in there all the time. But, Adam, you just got to get to that point, right? You just got to get to that point. And once you get there, I'm telling you, man, things will look up. Things will look up. Now, let's look at some bets. Now, I'm going to go plus money first because I just placed this morning. I can't believe, listen, I honestly can't believe the plus money is this high. And the numbers on BetMGM. BetMGM had the highest plus money for both of these receivers. Let's throw them up there. Now, Tech McMillan, plus 120 to go over 5.5. Brian Thomas Jr., plus money to go over 5.5. Plus 125, plus 120. They're anytime touchdown odds. So the plus money prop train is riding right into Carolina, riding right into Jacksonville. Why do I like these plays? Number one, Brian Thomas Jr. I know he has underwhelmed everybody. I predicted it, unfortunately. I said he would not have the season that everybody thought he was going to have. However, that doesn't mean he's not going to get volume. And he has 19 targets in 2 weeks. 19 targets in 2 weeks. It's not for lack of getting like receiving the ball. It's lack of actually getting a proper pass. You saw all the issues between Liam Cohen and my man T-Law, the miscommunication, the hesitation at times, right? This is going to be a game, that game script between Houston and Jacksonville. I think it's going to be an aerial attack. I really do. Now, Houston is always trying to stop the run. And listen, the one thing is, as long as T-Law can get that ball out on some of those hot reads, that's the thing. Like, their hot reads, specifically go to Brian Thomas Jr. because he's not afraid to go across the middle. Bretton Strange has been more of floating to the outside than going across the middle. So that's why I love this number over 5.5. And I listen, I get it. I get it. Everybody's like, oh, no way, no way. Why are we in on it's plus 25, man, or plus 125. Like this is a really good valuable prop. So even if you don't hit it, the value is there. But if you do hit it, the value is astronomical, right? So I put these both in a parlay. Let me get to Tech McMillan. Tech McMillan, the reason why I like McMillan a lot in this game. Listen, we're talking about a guy who's just coming off of 55 attempts. Bryce Young, 90 attempts in 2 games. This dude is throwing the ball at nauseum, throwing the ball all over. Okay. So listen, I understand people are going to jump on a Hunter Renfrow wagon. I get it. Let's all jump on a Hunter Renfrow wagon, right? Because he caught 2 touchdowns. Listen, take McMillan has been over this number the first 2 weeks. He's been over the number. He's getting, he's been right there, right? But he's getting these opportunities. And the one thing about these plus money bets that I love to do is just seek out number one, it's the game script, right? You got to look at the game script and how you feel like this game script is going to, it's going to project. This is also a guy who has 19 targets in 2 games. Okay. It's also a guy, 5 catches in week 1, 6 catches in week 2. But the biggest thing I like about Tech McMillan is, like I told you, he has a quarterback who's thrown the ball 90 times, right? But there's really no competition for catches, right? And here's the other thing. Xavier Legette, who I do like, I still think going forward, like maybe by like week 6 or 7, he will really, really insert himself in the offense. He's been hindered by some injuries. He's actually questionable again, right? He's actually questionable again. So that's another reason why I like Tech McMillan, right? So I love everything that's lining up for this plus money play. I do. And he's a big play receiver. He's averaging over 14 and a half yards per catch. 14 and a half yards per catch. So again, as that defensive, front comes crashing in, okay, because they love to stop the run, they're going to look at Chuba Hubbard. They really are. They're going to look at Chuba Hubbard, but they're really going to try to. D'Amico Ryans is a really brilliant defensive mind. He's really going to try to make Bryce Young feel uncomfortable. And if you look at the way these receivers work, Hunter Renfrow is a guy that's going to post out and kind of just go all over. But he's not going to be the scatterback to where he's going to be the guy waving for that play, right? That's going to be Tech McMillan. So I like Tech a lot. I do. I just looking at it from that positive aspect, I think that he's going to be the guy that really gets the play here. That's why I like that plus money right there. My man JD checking in says picked up Juwan Johnson in both leagues. Play him over Pitts and Sam Laporta. Wow. I'll tell you what, now you have a lot of issues when it comes to tight end because you have too many. I don't like Laporta, to be honest with you. I just going forward, he just doesn't seem like, I don't know if the past injuries are hindering, if it's a new offensive system that's really hindering him. I mean, look, you look at a guy that we last year that we really, really dug, right? He does have 13 targets, but again, first week he had 9 targets, 6 catches, 79 yards. Good Sam Laporta game, right? Because you don't want to be touchdown dependent. You want to get those 13 to 15 points. But last week it kind of bothered me. Like this was a huge offensive output for Detroit, and he was barely even involved. 3 catches for 26 yards. So I look at that. Even Brock Wright gets in the end zone before Laporta. So I don't like him right now to really lean on. My confidence is dwindling on Sam Laporta, if you want me to be honest. I like Kyle Pitts, right? I like him in this game. You're gonna see that. You're gonna see why. But if you're looking at who to start, it's got to be Juwan Johnson. Like, you have to look at the way that team is scripted. Spencer Rattler has really. I talked about this a couple weeks ago, like right after he broke out week 1. Look at the receiving core. Look at the receiving core in New Orleans. And just the way I like to break things down. Again, I'm a little different than everybody, right? I'm not gonna bore you with DVOA and analytics and all this bullshit. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna strictly tell you what I see from a football perspective and how it plays out. Spencer Rattler is not the most accurate quarterback in the world. I think we all know that. Okay. Listen, he doesn't claim to be. He needs a guy that he's going to be able to go up and get the ball. Strong, big bodied receiver that's going to be able to fight the opponent or the opposition, we call it, whatever that cornerback is or whatever that linebacker is going to be, that's going to be on him. He needs to go up and fight for that ball. Who else on that team is fighting for the ball? It's not going to be Chris Olave, in my opinion, because the guy's got too many concussions that he has to be very careful. They don't want to put him in that situation. Rashid Shaheed is the go long guy. So he's not fighting for the ball. He's a smaller stature guy that needs to be open in space. So the guy's going to be Jawan Johnson. He's going to be that target. So that's why I like Jawan Johnson, JD, a lot. To me, he's the number one target in that offense. He's the wide receiver one as a tight end in that offense. And you saw what Kellen Moore did here in Philadelphia. He loved him some Dallas Goedert. So I love what he's doing right there. Now we got my man Lemon Drop checking in, says Laporta or Tucker Kraft. Listen, it's Tucker Kraft all day long as the questionable tag isn't as bad. Like they say he's going to play. Tucker Kraft is going to play. Now he's got a little bit of a knee issue that he's going to play. The only problem that you have, it's kind of like you pick your poison, right? They're going up against Cleveland. Now Cleveland, their defense is stout up front. We've seen that. So they're going to be in on trying to get to Jordan Love. They're going to be on trying to stop Josh Jacobs. And you can think of this two ways. Tucker Kraft, even though he's, again, he's been ridiculous. But will he be on check duty? Meaning, will he be put in on a line to give that extra check to guys like, Myles Garrett? Will he be holding himself back in this game? And maybe they say, you know what? Yeah, we're going to make him active, but we know we're not going to have him running that many routes, that he's going to be involved with trying to allow guys like Matthew Golden and Dontavia Wicks to be open. So, it's hard. And Laporta goes up against Baltimore. And again, this is going to be tough. This is a really tough decision. But I think what you have to look at, though, is Tucker Kraft had a huge game last week. Huge game. Is he going to have that game every week? I don't know. The only thing that bothers me is on Friday. Here's what bothers me. Matt LaFleur told reporters he didn't think, this is what I don't like, he didn't think Kraft needed to go on injured reserve. He didn't think. I don't like that. That means the knee is a little bulky right now. So the other end of this is, what if this game gets out of hand? Then Luke Musgrave gets more clock. He's only played 33% of the snaps so far, but I think that Musgrave snap percentage could go up to about 50 this week based on that injury. I do. So I think the Tucker Kraft thing is something to watch. So listen, if you just want to ride with your guys, you go with Tucker Kraft. However, if you want to play it safe, you go with Sam Laporta. Best place to watch the NFL. Streamer Ryan, check this. All right. I don't know what that is. If you're looking for fancy plays, check it in. We're getting start sits right here. So again, Lemon Drop, I hope that helps. Fly Eagles fly. See the go birds. Let's go. Fly Eagles fly. But I think I may lean towards Laporta. Here based on that analysis. Right. And that's just a full football analysis. That's just what I'm thinking about right now. Let's go to another. Let's go to the anytime touchdown. And again, this is the anytime touchdown play that we're going with. And I know people are going to look at this and be like, what? Wait, what? Who are these guys? Right? I know you know who these guys are. I do. I get it. Right? But what I like is, you have to think a little bit ahead. Get the value, right? Like, everybody wants to put Josh Jacobs anytime touchdown for minus 200. Come on, man. Like you're not even, there's no value. Minus 200 bet, there's no value there, right? There's no value there. So what I try to do is I try to pick out guys that are often giving value. Now, I say this all the time. No, my man Sean might check in now or later. But what I've always said is, make sure you bet the single bets too. So you at least come out with a wash, you break even, or you come out ahead. Okay. That to me, that's more important. Is come out ahead. At least if one out of these three hit. Very rare. It did happen last week where one we didn't have any hit, which is odd. All right. So again, quirky week. But Ramondre Stevenson, this is the more of the yeah, I get it, right? Going in against that Pittsburgh team, you're looking to really establish the run to get Drake May more comfortable. I think you see the Trevion Henderson effect that's non-existent right now. And I think again, it's a rookie. It's Mike Vrabel. He's adopted the Belichick system. I've talked about this before, but I can see Ramondre Stevenson. This could be a 2-touchdown game for Ramondre Stevenson. Just because I see the way this game script is going to go, and I think there'll be multiple opportunities in the red zone. Again, you got some. Remember they rebuilt the secondary out there with Darius Slay and Jalen Ramsey. So they're going to force you to run the ball, right? They're going to force you to run the ball. And they're going to force you to run with Ramondre Stevenson. That's what they're going to do. He's going to get a lot of snap looks this week. So I like Ramondre this week to get in the end zone, a plus 125 to anytime touchdown. And then we go down. This is where it gets, look at the Blake Corum effect. You saw him get in the end zone last week. One thing that I've noticed is that Sean McVay seems to be hesitant to constantly pound Kyron Williams into the end zone. And, if he didn't get hurt last year, I think obviously Corum would have had even a more bigger impact, on that running game out there. That's not to take it away from Kyron Williams. It just has to look at the way this game, again, I say game script a lot because you really have to look inside this game. And I think there's going to be a lot of opportunities, right? And Blake Corum, is going to be that X factor in the backfield to where McVay is playing chess with Vic Fangio, right? Show him different looks, different people, different formations, right? I look at this to possibly be an instance where you get the double back setup, right? Maybe the double back setup where you got Kyron on the left, you got Blake Corum on the right, trying to flip the script a little bit, and maybe it goes to Blake Corum. And that plus 575, that number to me, it just screams a lot of value, right? It screams a lot of value because of that. Because of that, I look at it and go, okay, you know what? I got to go in on this number. I got to go in on this number. So I like the plus 575. And I like the idea of a double back set at times in this game to flip the script a little bit with Sean McVay and to give Corum the opportunities. Now, we saw Mr. Tootin get involved. We know how this worked. They sent Bigsy over, right? ETN obviously is the guy, but Tootin's going to get more and more involved. You have to remember how many times, ask yourself this, how many times last year where everybody had Bijan Robinson and we were screaming, why are we using Tyler Algier? Why are we using Tyler Algier? I mean, why? Tyler Algier, why is he being used? Ask Liam Cohen, right? All right, I'm sorry. Not Liam Cohen. I'm sorry. Flip the script. I always get Arthur Smith and Liam Cohen, right? That, back and forth from the from those days. So let's go back to Tampa Bay. I'm sorry. Let's go Bucky Irvin and Rashad White. You look at those two guys, and a lot of people were always listen. I was a Rashad White guy before Bucky Irvin, but we knew that Bucky Irvin was going to be in there. However, even as Bucky Irvin still had those ridiculous games, you still had that opportunity to where Rashad White came in and just was the goal line guy and stole some of the clock, right? So I look at Tootin playing that kind of role in Jacksonville. And I think Liam Cohen he's warming up to that, right? He's warming up to that. He's getting to that aspect. Okay, we're warming up to this a little bit, right? We're warming up to this a little bit. So I think this is another valuable opportunity from anytime touchdown in that game to where I do think there's going to be a lot of points scored. I do. I think it's going to be a sloppy game on both ends. I think there'll be multiple. Listen, you saw that Giants and Cowboys game, how sloppy that was, and nobody expects that. But I do think there could be some fireworks in this game, and it could be a slop fest. It really could be. And if it's a slop fest, Tootin will get in the end zone. So I really, really like that pick. JD says, ooh, Garrett Wilson, Devontae Smith. Does Wilson take a step back with the quarterback issues? Listen, Wilson, it's funny. It's really, this is a really hard one, JD. And I say that honestly because obviously we know that even without the quarterback issues, Garrett Wilson, we weren't sure with Josh Fields. And I was listen, I know everybody got excited in the beginning, but they're going on Tampa Bay. Number one, Tampa Bay is really hard at home. A really hard team to play at home. They really are. Okay, so that number one, that's what you have to look at. No matter, even if it was, listen, even if it was Josh Fields, right? Even if it was Josh Fields. Now, Tyrod Taylor, the crazy part is you may have more opportunity. Like, you may actually have to boost up Garrett Wilson a little bit because of Tyrod Taylor, because he's going to throw more. There's going to be more volume. The the problem that I think everybody understood going into this year, the only issue with Garrett Wilson is it's Garrett Wilson and nobody else. Now, I know we've seen this before in highly stout wide receivers. However, Garrett Wilson, I don't think is that elite talent to overcome that over the top double coverage like the other guys were. So I think it's going to be really hard for him to constantly be, especially on the road at Tampa Bay. That's a tough one. I would lead Devontae Smith. I would. I would lead Devontae Smith because I think this will be more of one thing about the Philadelphia Eagles. I know they say that they don't care when they hear the calls for more offense, but they do. They understand it. They see it. They hear it. But again, you do have Devontae Smith that fell hard on that tailbone. Didn't really listen. It didn't affect him or impact him more. But I think the X factor for this game is Dallas Goedert. I mean, with Dallas Goedert being in this game, you can't just roll all coverage on the AJ Devontae. So I do think that Devontae gets a better game this week. So I would go Devontae Smith. I would go Devontae Smith over Garrett Wilson. Now, let's get in to the last play today. Let's get into, we're at about 32 minutes. Remember, like and subscribe the show right there over on Token Soul Show on X, on Instagram, and obviously on YouTube, where we drop all my content. Again, we got the Blades of Fades with my son. It's really fun that we're dropping every Thursday. He's really getting into fantasy football, been doing it for years. Now he's actually grabbing a microphone, so I'm really proud of that. Right, but we also make sure you get over and follow our good partners over there at BetQL. Go to www.betql.com or .co. I'm sorry, it is .co. Okay, get 50% off your monthly subscription to sports or more, 50% off your one sport annual pass. The good thing about BetQL, what they're doing is everything is on one page. Okay, so you get your bet analysis on one page, you get your player props on one page, you get everything in one spot. So that's what I really like about it. If you have any questions about the product, please just let me know. As always, guys, like when I promote something, it's because I'm really diving deep into it, just like I did with Win Daily a long time ago. So will continue on that same trajectory. Now let's get into the last play of the day. And this is going to be a wide receiver part. It's the 4-pick wide receiver parlay. And I used the boost on this. Okay. I used the boost on this. Got us up to 14-15. Okay. It's more than 14-1, a little more than 14-1. 4 plays. 4 plays that I really, really think, and I say this word all the time, highly attainable. These are 4 highly attainable plays. Number 1, AJ Brown. I'll tell you my theory about the AJ Brown call right here. Every single week when AJ Brown is going right, that number is 5.5. Everybody knows it. Everybody, any sport betting guy knows, if you sports bet, all last year that AJ Brown number was always over 5.5. Over under 5.5. And he either got you 5 or either got you 6, man. Like literally, it was and he got you 5 more than not, more times than not. So that was a number I always stayed away from. And I always said if it ever goes to 4.5, I'm betting it. And I'm betting this number of over 4.5. AJ Brown will not be silenced forever. He just won't. They know they have to get him the ball. They understand. I don't care what the game script says. That offense was so vanilla over the first 2 weeks. I'm going to give them a mulligan when it comes to the passing game. And think, listen, do I expect Jalen Hurts to throw for 300 yards? Absolutely not. However, I do expect him to hit over 200 this week. I do. I think this is the week he hits over 200 and he gets these guys a little more involved. And listen, 5 catches for AJ Brown. I bet you the first it's going to be scripted. First 10 plays, watch, will be scripted, and 3 of them will go to AJ Brown, with 2 of them being slants. He's going to get involved very, very early. Kyle Pitts, the over 3.5. the renaissance of Kyle Pitts. This is more of a game script game. I know everybody's going to be jumping right away in on Drake London, and rightfully so. But I look at this as far as, look, this guy's got 13 targets in 2 games. There was plenty of weeks where we were just clamoring for, where's Kyle Pitts? Where is it? I really think this year Kyle Pitts inserts himself more in this offense, and you're seeing it. You got that big three of London, Pitts, and Bijan, and I think that's the way that Raheem Brock has this, or Raheem Morris has this team going forward. I do. I really like the way that this is going to go, and I think, again, you have to look at Michael Penix, that's finally, getting all the confidence as that number one guy. But I think this is really important to look at the first 2 weeks that Kyle Pitts is 11 catches. Like, he's already been over this number, but he's been deeply involved in the offense. Deeply involved in the offense. So especially on a game to where I think there's going to be a lot of throws. Everybody's worried about what happened last week. I wouldn't worry about that. Like, you're still looking at Michael Penix, who threw the ball 40 plus times in week 1. So I do still think this is going to be air out attack. I really do. So I like that number. Then we go. All you need to do is rewind it back to when I talked about that Pittsburgh New England game. All right, just rewind it. I think there's going to be a lot of attempts to run the ball in this game. So Ramondre Stevenson, over 11 and a half attempts. I think he definitely does. Get that 5. 5. I'm thinking of receptions. I think he might even get 14 to 15 rushing attempts, I think, come from Ramondre Stevenson. So I think this number was very, very low. And then we go. I talked about this Houston-Jacksonville game. You see a theory, like you see a script. I'm always betting on games that I really like. And I told you when I brought up the BetQL, these are 4 to 5 star betting games that they have listed on their site that I'm really diving into. Brenton Strange. Like, he's going to be one of those secret plays for people every single week. I know a lot of people talked about him in the beginning of the year, as that sleeper, kind of like, could he break it in that top 15 range, right? But I just think the way that he's going to be utilized, what I really like is not a big yards per catch. I don't care about that. What I look at is the volume that he's receiving, right? And he's got 7 catches, 10 targets. In this offense that's really, really trying to figure out who their wide receiver 2 is, Brenton Strange could really establish himself like that, kind of like Jawan Johnson has done in New Orleans. It may take a couple extra weeks. Okay. Honestly, may take a couple extra weeks, but I do think that you saw the issues between T-Law and Liam Cohen last week. I think maybe Liam Cohen dials it back a little bit, gets him those quick outs, right? Gets him those quick outs, just like he would do it at games with like a Kate Otten, when he was obviously calling a plays for Tampa Bay. So I really, really, really like Brenton Strange a lot. I do. So I look at it and say, okay, like what is his ceiling this week? When I put this bet over 29 and a half, like, I think this is a 40 to 50 yard week for Brenton Strange, especially based on volume of this game. So that's why I like that. My man JD checking in says Eagles are wearing their white jerseys. Reminder to Snow game 41-21 Eagles. He says, fly, Eagles, fly. If they score 41 points against the Rams, wow, I will be impressed. So let's run down real fast before we get out of here. And I will say another secret play that I like for DFS. Another secret play. And I'm gonna, let's put this up there because I like the market so people see it, they rewatch it. It's gonna be Jatavion Sanders, okay, at the tight end position for the Carolina Panthers. Okay, he's 3,300, a little more, right? 3,300. So I'm gonna put that in here because I really like it. DFS AEVP DFS is Tavon Sanders, right? He's 3,300. I just following that game script, like I keep saying, it's all about following these game scripts what could happen. So I do like him at 3,300. Listen, you have a guy, like I said, throws the ball 90 times in 2 games, and a game to where this tight end could be very, very useful. Very, very useful. I think that, again, this is another AEVP DFS play in Jatavion Sanders at 3,300. So, listen, everybody, as always, thanks for checking in. Continue to watch. Got about an hour. Texans over Jags today plus money. I like that. I like that. I like where JT's thinking. I like it. He's looking at those plus money plays, right? I hope everybody's jumping in those plus money plays. Don't forget to make sure you like and subscribe. I hope everybody hits their plays, hits their bets. I'm going to get ready. Hop into that free Discord. That, again, it is linked in the description. Make sure you like and subscribe. And again, man, I might go live tonight for Monday Night Football. We shall see. We'll see how the day goes and see how the plays go. But hopefully we get to see everybody cashing some tickets, having some fun. And again, as always, stay safe, stay healthy. Catch you back.